Sometimes you gotta close the door to open a window.
Hello and welcome to the second watch, a Film Switch production in which we go over all those stray details you only pick up on after rewatching a movie. Today we're going to talk Joker, and there will be spoilers ahead.
For my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do.
By the way, I'm going to be reading to save your time and also to save mine with editing and all that, but something I knew I wanted to pay closer attention to on my second watch was Joaquin's physicality. His dancing and near exorcist-like contortions, it blew me away the first time, but on the second watch I noticed how deliberate each break into dance was. The first number comes after the subway murders. We see him sprint off to a distant restroom to get as far away from the crime scene as possible. When he enters said restroom, you expect him to be panicked, breathing heavily, or something to signal that he's worried about getting caught or that he's concerned about having just killed 3 people. But no, when he enters the restroom, he's not pretty poised. He's supernaturally poised. It's as if he hasn't killed anybody, and more coordinated than ever before. Arthur starts to improvise this dance, and it's really quite beautiful, the way he sort of moves fluidly. His head goes back, his hands just waving like it's a part of the air, and you realize in that moment, especially at the end, when his arms are outstretched, that's how the piece sort of ends. His arms are outstretched, and for the first time in the film, and probably in his life, you realize he's taking up space. He's made an impact. In that moment, Arthur is existing. I sort of teared up during that scene, which is weird to say because he had just killed 3 people, but it's precisely because he had just killed 3 people that I started to tear up. There's this question that I think about sometimes, a lot of the times actually, like what if the thing that you feel you're supposed to do, the thing that makes you as ecstatic as a football player after they score a touchdown, what if that thing is something awful, something like murder? It's a bit tragic if it is, because I mean, I know how good it feels to kill. Not in the shoot someone down sort of killing, but in the stand-up comedy type of killing. I've done stand-up before, and I know there's no feeling quite like stepping off a stage after just annihilating a crowd with your jokes. It invigorates you, it makes you feel more in control, and the only way you can really express that control is through movement. I myself have scurried into empty restrooms after a good set and just danced, the adrenaline of making people laugh, allowing my body to twist and turn in ways I never thought that it could. It's the kind of high you only really experience after doing something you feel might be your calling, and I think it's a high that everybody should get to experience. It just sucks that for Arthur, his limited skill set and wavering mental fortitude made it so that the only way he could actually experience the high of killing was through actual killing, not stand-up comedy killing or killing it on a football field type killing. However unfortunate you do or don't find Arthur's situation, the dance scene in the bathroom confirmed one thing to me on my second watch, and that is that Arthur is the type of person to express emotion through movement just as much as he would through speech. If he's happy, he can't help but express that through dance. For example, he dances with his mother after going on what he thought was a date with his neighbor. Soon enough we learned that was a delusion. He also dances as he takes the stage for the Murray Franklin show. When he's behind the curtain, he does like a whole little, like a pose thing, and then as he exits, he does a twirl, and that's when he takes his seat. He just has, it's almost as if his body is as much as a smile as his actual smile. Like he smiles with his arms and legs more than just his lips, and his smile is never wider than when he's descending flights of stairs. Okay, this is weird. I didn't notice it at first, and it's gonna sound off, but I think Arthur's relationship to stairs is reflective of his relationship to society as a whole. Every time Arthur is seen climbing up a flight of stairs, he's not into it, like his head's down, his shoulders are slumped. Arthur's demeanor as he climbs up flights of stairs shows that he has a hard time ascending, but the 2 times we see him go down flights of stairs, he's ecstatic and he's expressing that ecstasy through dance, just like he did in the bathroom scene. It may be nothing, but this decision to keep Arthur depressed while going upstairs and happy while going down them called to mind our concept of a stairway to heaven. Whether we believe in pearly gates or not, most of us subscribe to the idea that behaving correctly will lead to a chance at moving up in the world, a chance at ascending some sort of societal stairway to heaven. That ascension is a goal for most, but it isn't a good goal for all. It isn't a good fit for people like Arthur. He tries to ascend by getting a job and even trying to make friends with the people in that job. He takes the gun Randall offers him and even fake laughs at his dumb jokes, but all he gets for trying to behave as others is fired and accused of trying to buy the gun that he was given. He attempted the righteous path to heaven, but that path did nothing but trip him up, so he decides to do the opposite of ascend. He decides to spiral. He shoots the 3 guys on the subway, and only after that do we see him interact with Stairs gleefully. He's just emptied out his locker at work, and Arthur's newfound confidence after having killed the 3 guys on the subway and feeling like he's found his calling allows him to make a grander exit than he might usually make. It's one that involves doing the punching out of work pun. He calls out Randall for throwing him under the bus for trying to buy the gun, and of course he dances down a flight of stairs. He scribbles out a "don't forget to" and a "don't forget to smile" sign. He dances on his way out, and that dance and that joke together, they show that Arthur, he can't be happy pursuing the heaven that society expects him to pursue. He can't be happy leashed and behaving properly. He would much rather be the mad dog that he's referred to as in other movies, The Dark Knight specifically. He'd much rather be a mad dog on his way to hell than an angel going up to heaven, like most of us would probably want to be. That first trip down a flight of stairs, I think it's the perfect foreshadowing for the second, more flamboyant descent most people will probably remember coming out of the movie theater. The descent I'm talking about, which you probably already have playing in your head because it's so cool, it comes soon after a series of really troubling revelations. Arthur goes from thinking Thomas Wayne is his father, to being told his mother is delusional, to being told that he was adopted, to confirming that he was adopted and his mother is delusional. Not only that, he learns that his mother allowed him to be abused when he was a child, which made him prone to being delusional. All this turmoil and what it leads to, the sick relief that it leads to. It reminds me of a little segment in Abbey Road, which is not the album I have next to me, but I should have put that one instead. But it reminded me of a segment in Abbey Road where the Beatles go from playing their most intense song, I Want You, She's So Heavy. The ending breakdown with the white noise, the crashing drums and doomsday guitar. Every time I hear it, it's honestly too much to bear. And I imagine that part of the song to be the oral equivalent to what Arthur was feeling as he was hit with this onslaught of lies and truths, all of them orbiting around his mother, the woman to whom he gave all the love he could. She was too heavy. The trauma she dealt to him was just too much to bear, so he felt that he had to kill her. He stuffs her face under feather until she stops breathing, and finally, it's over. If you remember, after killing his mom, there's this shot of Arthur looking out the hospital window, the sunshine pouring in, sort of showering him in the relief that he feels. That's his "Here Comes the Sun" moment. The Beatles followed their most intense piece with arguably their brightest, and it's the same with Joker. The assault on Arthur's sense of reality, his "I Want You, She's So Heavy" moment, is followed by the relief that is killing his mother. Being a good son was his last connection to any sort of stairway to heaven, to any sort of good citizenry that he had in him. But with her gone, he's finally free to be his true, unhinged self. All connections to Ascension severed. Arthur goes to kill again. He kills Randall, and then he dons the full Joker regalia, and that's when he's able to strut further down the steps to hell. That strut, that whole dance just confirms that Arthur will be the type to thrive in fire, and he's soon going to be able to prove that. He shoots a man on live TV, and he sparks total chaos. Gotham becomes the hell that he's been craving, that he's been wanting to live in. He struggled with ascension in a civilized world because in a civilized world, the supposedly civilized did nothing but knock him down. He physically and mentally had trouble moving up when trying to exist in a world that expected him to be on the up and up. but in hell, in his environment, he moves as fluidly as he did in the restroom. The mob, this is my favorite, probably my favorite moment in the movie. The mob places him on top of a cop car, and instead of fumbling around like he did on stand-up stage, which is funny because the one time he is elevated in regular society, he's on the stand-up stage, and we see him just sort of lose it at first, and then he thinks he's being funny, but soon we learn after he screened on the Murray Franklin show that he wasn't funny at all, that even when he does get a chance to be on an elevated platform in regular society, he can't quite perform. But when he's put on that platform in hell, when he's put on the cop car, that's when he dances, and the mob cheers him on while he dances. The mob cheers him on because this is hell, and in hell he's royalty. In hell, the Joker is the clown prince of crime. Arthur is not a Stairway to Heaven guy. His slouched posture going upstairs contrasted with his confidence going down them is a visual way of showcasing his attraction to more hellish environments. And it's a type of filmmaking that will probably get Joker nominated, or at least get it considered for a Best Picture nomination. Now, the dances in the bathroom and on the stairs are clearly deliberate, but a bit bombastic. Those moments are Joaquin turning it up to 11, which is, it can be kind of dangerous. Going balls to the wall can land a performance with an overacting award as opposed to the Academy one most people want. However, Phoenix separates himself from the likes of a Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever by accenting those bombastic numbers with more subtle movements. The first one I noticed on my second watch came right after he writes the joke, the worst part about having a mental illness is everyone expects you to behave as if you don't. After he writes that joke, we see him do a little shimmy. Just on this, it's like, it cuts away, it's kind of a wide shot, and he does just a little shimmy. He feels himself. And it's a shimmy that I've done after writing something I'm kind of proud of, something I think might have an impact. It's just like the previous example of going into a bathroom and dancing after killing it at work. When you write something you think is good, you have to twist your body in some way, express how good you feel on the inside by moving and proving you exist on the outside. That shimmy is followed by another set of quiet movements when Arthur gets a call from the Murray Franklin show. As he's asked to be a guest on his favorite late night talk show, he starts to feel himself. He runs his fingers down his arm across his face. He feels himself almost as if to pinch himself, almost as if to think like, am I really about to have an impact on the world by being on TV screens across America? It's almost like he's proving that he exists. Again, it's him stretching out his arms, and when he goes in the bath, it's elation over existing expressed through movement, and accenting the dances with smaller movements like a shimmy and finger brushes remove the performance from the overacting race and onto the Academy Award race. At least I think so. I really like those little subtle things, which, I mean, if you want to, we did a video on Hereditary and Toni Collette's performance in there. She does a lot of subtle movements like that. We're really into subtlety here, I guess. I don't know, the stuff that you can't pick up on and prove that we're wrong about because, hey, it's so small, maybe we're right about it. Anyways, the pointed dances, subtle movements, and behavior going up and down flights of stairs showed that Phoenix brought a level of physicality to the role that I had never seen before. I didn't know was possible with this. I didn't know was an option for this kind of character, because Heath Ledger was outstanding. There's no debating that. But after watching Joker, I realized how Ledger's performance was driven more by his face and his line delivery, and also his unnerving sort of lip smacking. You know, like he has his scars and he sort of wriggles them throughout the movie. It gets under your skin, and Joaquin doesn't really have that, but what he lacked in those departments, he made up for with movement, with body control. His body control and lack thereof allowed the performance to reach the heights. I'd say it reaches the heights of Natalie Portman in Black Swan. It avoids Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever. It even avoids Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, which is a good thing. There's that scene where he's in the cop car before he's put on top of it, before he does the blood smile and all that. Before that happens, he has his head resting against the cop car window. And you contrast that with the Dark Knight scene where Heath has his head outside the window. It was almost as if to say, you know what, I wasn't as good as him. but I was damn close. You know, I earned to be in the cop car. I earned to have my head against the window, not to put it out, but have it against the window. And I like that it added another angle to Joker's character. I like that it made his usually frantic movements balletic in a way. I thought that was really nice. By the way, I did look up balletic in a thesaurus. That wasn't quite in my vocabulary. And I think I'm actually done. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about that I wasn't planning on. It's not written, but you know what? I think I'm gonna talk about it. It involves the last scene, the very last scene in the movie in Arkham. So we see Joker laughing. His doctor wants to know what's so funny, and as Joker prepares to tell the joke that he's thinking about, we cut to Bruce in the alley, his dead parents at his feet, and the image is as striking as ever. I know people complain about how many times we see Bruce and his dead parents, but I can't get enough of it. I love it every time. It's sick to think that I love a kid with his dead parents at his feet. I love seeing that, but I do. Maybe, I don't know. I just do. And after we see just a snippet of that, just the image, we cut back to Joker. And all he says is, "You wouldn't get it." The joke he's thinking about, we wouldn't get it. We wouldn't get the joke. I couldn't quite articulate what about that cut, that scene disturbed me so much after my first watch, but after my second, I thought about it more, and I think in that, what disturbed me is that in that moment, Joker turns Batman's entire crime-fighting crusade into a punchline. Batman, the hero we've all grown to love, we expect to come save the day. In this movie, in Joker, he just becomes another scribble in this madman's demented joke book. It's really fucked up. Like, we shouldn't get the joke, you know, where we're sane people. We want justice to prevail, but in this movie, Joker makes the seeking of justice, he makes it seem silly. In The Dark Knight, the Joker is a reaction to Batman, but to have it be the other way around, to make Joker the writer of Bruce Wayne's destiny, is to reveal the futility of Batman's heroics. In Joker canon, Bruce is Sisyphus. He's the one that's pushing the rock that is villainy out of Gotham, trying over and over again. And Joker is Zeus, the god that sentenced Batman to that never-ending fate. I don't know, The Dark Knight was considered dark because it gave a voice to cynicism, but it never let us lose hope. The Dark Knight didn't do what Joker does and propose that even an act of charity, like putting your life on the line for the well-being of others, was an act anticipated by the maddest of men, an act written by the maddest of men because they just needed a challenge, because they didn't want to get bored, because they just wanted a good laugh. Honestly, I think that ended like 3 sentences ago. Thank you for sticking around, but that is all I have to say about Joker. That's all I really got after my second watch. Just the dancing, the stare motif, the subtle little movements, and of course the last bit of cynicism. You can't end Joker without a little bit of cynicism. So thanks for watching. Let us know if you like the second watch this series. We'll probably keep doing it because, I don't know, it was fun to be on camera for the first time ever. Yeah, bye. Thank you.
She's gonna be dead. I just gotta let it run. We can finally be together.